Welcome back to Rise of the Beast Wars Wednesday. We've been working on that title.
Yeah, we workshopped it for months. So, this is a Beast Wars Wednesday. It's been a long time since we've done one of these. Even though, I dressed up for the occasion.
The Beasters.
There we go.
There
we are.
Yeah, it's going to sit there where you can't see it.
Yeah, but you know it's there in your heart.
Just know that it's here in spirit.
So, we have pulled Beast Wars Wednesday out of its cocoon because
it's time for a butterfly to emerge.
Yes.
In the form of a live action.
Live action mostly. There's a lot of CG too. Feature film. The Maximals have finally made their way into a full Hollywood blockbuster. They graduated.
Well, okay. Let's just say it's not a full feature film.
Okay, well let's get this out of the way first. We gotta say straight up that this is really not a Beast Wars movie. There are Maximals in it, but let's be real, this isn't Beast Wars. We're gonna go for a non-spoiler review, but there are some things we're gonna touch on, so if you just want to know absolutely nothing about the movie before you go into it, then
move to this timestamp
for our rating.
Is it welcome to Beast Wars? And then the video's over.
This takes place after Bumblebee, so it's
I
sort of
like that one. I liked Bumblebee.
I like Bumblebee too. So it's kind of like retconning or rather, it's in a different continuity, we'll say, than the Bayverse. Although one could argue that maybe they connect. I think they're still kind of on the fence about that.
It's a Transformers multiverse.
Honestly, the continuity between the different movies is very muddy, so, you can believe what you want to believe. Because, there's contradictions everywhere, so. There is a thing that people need to get. It's
a MacGuffin.
It's a big, shiny MacGuffin. Optimus Prime is like, we need to get the MacGuffin because there's this thing in the sky. There's a guy named Noah Diaz, and he is going to steal a car that kind of turns out to be a Transformer. So he gets kind of thrust into...
He jetstorms into it.
He tank horse his way into the story. So now they're gonna help. He's gonna help them out with getting the MacGuffins because it's really hard to sneak around when you're a giant robot. And I think it's legit.
Yeah,
So, makes sense to me.
legit.
The human buildings were built for people human-sized. And also, there's a lady. What's her name? Elena. Yeah, there's a lady named Elena. She works for a museum, and she's like, I'm the smart one. So
she's underappreciated by her racist overlords. There's only 3 white people in this film. One of them is at the end, but the other 2 are just like, you people. Or like, I'm white and I'm going to be better than you and act like I'm going to go to this gala event and even though you're smarter and way more qualified than I am. It's just like, do you really have to be so heavy-handed with with the message?
Like, we can include people without having to villainize other people.
Although it could be argued that 1994 was a different time. There wasn't as much inclusiveness.
That's true.
I mean, I grew up in the 90s and there was some pretty racist stuff that I had to deal with too. So maybe it's kind of on the nose there. She's
in the museum and they have uncovered a bird-like MacGuffin, which is it looks like a hawk or like a horse. Horus, the Egyptian god. But she's determined it's not Egyptian. Well, she kind of tries to figure out where it's from, but it actually has alien origins. And it's Air Razor. It's not the actual. It's after modeled after Air Razor.
Statue.
Anyway, she scans it with futuristic technology that definitely was around in the 90s, and 100%. The whole thing crumbles away, and boom, there it is. Basically, this thing is a key. It's a transwarp key.
Yep.
And it has the ability to create a transwarp portal, and the Terracons are sent by their mighty master.
Unicron.
You know the guy.
He's Galactus, but in Transformers.
They have to stop Unicron from coming through a portal and eating Earth. Because eating Earth, not good for history. Because if I remember the 90s, I was there in 94, I don't remember Earth being eaten.
Slept through it all.
I am a heavy sleeper though, it's fair. Maybe I should start kind of with like how I feel about the Transformer movies in general.
Okay, you know what? Let's circle around. Okay. How did you feel, Decepticon Dog, about the Transformers movies in general?
Thanks for asking, Predacon Paul, because that's a great starting point.
Yeah.
I definitely, I liked the first one. I remember watching it opening weekend. There's a very palpable excitement in the air.
I remember sitting in a lineup down the hallway of the theater, of the cinema, over at Chinook Center Mall with a group of, I think 4 or 5 of us. We all went from work to the theater together, and we were all sitting in line and just like being so excited to get into this movie. But also keeping my expectations in check.
Yeah.
And it was the perfect balance, because as soon as you heard that first transformation sound, when blackout,
yeah,
it was like, and then he takes on the military. The whole theater erupted in cheers when that first sound.
Oh yeah. Or when Optimus Prime, like, he appeared, and when the truck was there, and everyone was like, oh my god!
Yeah.
And, you know, as I've seen the movie a few more times, there's some things that I think don't work so great, that are kind of dumb or a little excessive. But I think the movie as a whole...
Him peeing on him?
Yeah, stuff like that. The movie as a whole, I think, works. I watched the second movie, and it was such a horrific decline in quality. It was a memorable theater experience for a different reason, and then I was watching it horrified, not understanding, not understanding how somehow they just got everything so wrong. They did the classic sequel mistake of, oh, people liked this in the first movie, we're going to do everything but more
of that.
And so, like, now his parents get high on things, and they're running around humping each other on campus, and then the third one was just was a little better than the second one. And then after that, I'm like, well, not only are these getting worse, but they're getting, like, longer. Yeah. And I'm just like, I can't. I'm out. And I didn't watch the fourth one or the fifth one until Bumblebee, because it was a different director. It was Travis Knight.
Travis Knight, okay.
And
why was I thinking Ang Lee?
I wonder what an Ang Lee Transformers movie would look like. It started to resemble actual movies again, and that one was really good. And I feel like this one, it was produced by Michael Bay, but it wasn't a Michael Bay film. I don't even hate Michael Bay films in general. I just think that his talents are not suited to Transformers. I feel like he doesn't care about the source material, and it happened to work that one time. But I will say, even though as bad as the movies are, in my opinion, I do have to give them props, because they really did broaden the fan base and bring in a lot of fans. And I have to acknowledge the fact that that is the gateway for a lot of people into the Transformers fandom. And I don't want to say, like, well, your way in here sucked, so you're not welcome here. It's not for me, but I know that they do have people who are very nostalgic, especially now that they're old enough that they were like little kids when they watched it, and now they're adults.
With their own little kids.
So I understand that these movies are important and loved by some. So anyway, that's basically my thoughts on the movies as a whole. Not counting the 80s movie, that's a thing entirely different. But this one is kind of in a nice spot where you don't need to watch all those other films to get it. So it could be a good starting point. Yeah, so Optimus Prime...
He's like a little bit more brooding in this one, but it works. It works for him. And he's so driven, like it almost seems like he loses sight of the greater good as opposed to what he wants, right? He's weighing... The mark of a true hero is to sacrifice what you want for the greater good, or, you know...
I think
and all for one and one for all.
He's definitely distrustful of people.
Which is interesting.
Which is a side of him I haven't seen before, because usually Optimus Prime is depicted as being very... almost perfect. Like, he's like the perfect leader of, like... We're always going to do the righteous good thing and do well by people. And in this case, he seems like very just distrustful of humanity. He doesn't really want to have anything to do with them.
And he's willing to sacrifice humanity to get home, which is like, woof.
Well, I don't know if he wants to sacrifice humanity, but he's willing to put them more at risk.
That's kind of what. I chose the wrong words. Thank you, Doug. Sorry, Decepticon Doug.
Thank you.
No, yeah, he's willing to take that risk for the payoff, and it's just like, I don't know. I think like Michael Bay movie one Optimus would be like, is that it? Yep, smash. But then you wouldn't have an ending world destroying cataclysm.
Yeah, we need that sky beam. This is very much more also Mirage's story. Mirage, I don't think has made any appearances in the movies before.
Well, I thought I saw him, but it wasn't. It was my mind playing tricks on me.
But also, hey-o! This Mirage is very different. He's played by Pete Davidson.
Yeah, Pete Davidson.
And I thought he actually did pretty good. Yeah, he was
very likable.
Yeah, like just a very fun character. Maybe a little too like, hey, like slangy, but you know,
The one thing I didn't like about him,
yeah,
is he was just so quick. Like it was just like. It's in the trailer, steals the car, and then the car's like, I'm a Transformer, we're best friends now, aren't we? Let's go on wacky wild adventures together, you know, because we're bros. It's like, really? Come on. I don't give a crap about the humans.
Well, I'd say I think they did a pretty good job as far as Noah Diaz goes of bringing him him and his brother. Like I liked their story. I thought he was likable. Elena, I had issues with because I honestly just don't think she was a very good actress. I mean, or maybe she's better suited for other roles. Like it just seems like for the most part she's just like, oh, I lost the thing. Hey, we're gonna go to Peru now.
She wasn't really very well written either.
And
no offense, I'm never gonna work in the industry again. I don't think she was very well written. I don't think the brothers were very well written because it was like, you can do anything so long as you just believe in yourself.
Well, yeah, I mean that's very sentimental, but I liked their camaraderie. I like the Sonic and Tails thing.
I kind of like that too.
That felt very real.
I don't know. Maybe the personal stakes to me just didn't feel like they resonated.
Something I do appreciate is that like one of the things that bogged down the earlier movies was that there were so many human parts and there was so many characters and it was very complicated.
Like Waspinator.
Yeah, just like Waspinator. So many human parts. Where this one, at least there were just a few, and he only had a few to worry about and to deal with. I liked the Transformer to human ratio. Mm-hmm. It was. Yeah. I feel like that was good. Okay, so because this is Beast Wars Wednesday, we should talk about the Maximals a bit.
That's right. They were in this movie.
Yeah, they were a little bit in the beginning. We see mostly Airazor. She's separated from a lot of the other characters, and
Michelle Yeoh was amazing.
She's great. Yeah, I mean, it's not a particularly challenging role, I would say, as far as.
Yeah, but she certainly brings, and I don't want to age her up or anything like that. She's more mature woman, but her character brought a sense of wisdom.
Yes.
And fullness to her, like that. Like when she was around, it just, when like Captain Picard steps onto the bridge, and you just feel like everything's going to be okay because the captain's here. Mm-hmm. That's how I felt with her character. Whenever she like showed up, it was just like, oh, things are going to be okay. Like I felt that warmth.
A sort of a dignity to the role. Just seemed to be taking it very seriously, and it just kind of worked. So Good job with Airazor. The other Maximals. We get Cheetor, we get Rhinox, we get Optimus Primal, and that's it. So those hoping for Dinobot and Rat Trap, Silverbolt, Tigatron, not happening.
DB Productions.
Oh, that's right. It was made by DB Productions, which we're assuming Dinobot was involved behind the camera.
He's sitting there like, action.
I've taken a producer role. I'm watching your budget. I mean, that's the kind of the way it always has been. Is that you introduce characters, like a few characters, and maybe down the road you'll bring in more. I don't know how much they plan to bring in Maximals into future movies. What I will say is that if you want, let's say, a really good look at their character designs in robot mode,
better abuse the hell out of that pause button.
Yes, and do a little slow mo. And I feel like that's a real wasted opportunity because for most of the movie we get tons of shots of the Autobots in their robot modes. We wanted to see the designs. We wanted to see Rhinox and Cheetor in their robot forms. And
Rhinox's melee weapon was just so suitable for him.
Oh yeah,
a giant hammer. He's just like wham. He's just like. That's what I like to see.
And I would say a lot of the action sequences were pretty good. The one on the Peruvian highway I thought was really nice. Really a lot of cool moments in there. The big battle scene at the end. It still had the sort of the thing where there's a big wave of faceless minion type of villains. But,
I kind of like rolled my eyes and I like groaned audibly when the Automals all show up, the Maxibots all show up and they're like, yeah, we've got the high ground, Anakin. They just start coming out of the structure and it's like, yeah, I'm a scary friggin' monster robot. And it's just like, why does there have to be dozens of them? Oh, now there's hundreds. Okay, where did they come from? They just like melted out of the structure of that big thingy-mabob.
And why do they come out and then why? I mean, they're essentially kind of useless, right? They're just cannon fodder.
They're getting one-shotted.
If I was Unicron and I sent out a bunch of minions, wouldn't I want to send out like some big like bosses?
Here's the thing: almost every battle, even Optimus's like cannons are just like ping, 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 ping off of even the weakest of the Terracons, and then they just send in all of this. They're like paper, and all of the Autobots' weapons, even like RC, she's got those little cannons, and they're like kind of like an SMG, like lightweight, but like very like quick rapid fire, and it's just like and she's picking them off like, and they're just popping like little mosquitoes, just like why?
Wow, how powerful the Autobots are really does change depending on where in the story they are and how powerful they need to be in the moment. Unicron, I thought, was actually pretty well characterized. One touch I did like is that you can subtly hear the classic Unicron theme of any scene that he's in. You can hear the Unicron theme, which is very iconic, and using that I think was really cool because it was used sparsely and properly. I felt like it was that's kind of a fan servicey thing that doesn't interrupt the movie and actually adds to it.
Yeah.
Although I kind of feel like for this continuity, it's a little early to be bringing in Unicron. It seems like the Unicron's like the guy you bring in like a few movies down, because it's like how do you raise the stakes from there? How's the next movie gonna be bigger than Unicron coming?
Starscream.
bring in Starscream. He's gonna land and trip on himself. He's like, oh no, I surrender.
The one thing I didn't like is the voice.
Okay.
Everyone sounded the same. I couldn't barely even tell the difference between who was talking for the Terracons. Mm-hmm. They've all got that gravelly, really bassy, distorted, like Transformer. It's just like it's just Unicron was louder.
It's true. Scourge was apparently played by Peter Dinklage, but you couldn't tell because he had a lot of effects on him.
Why did they even get Peter Dinklage to play the voice? It's like we got Hugo Weaving to play Megatron. Yeah, but he doesn't even sound like Hugo Weaving.
Yeah, it's true.
Why did you even do that? Optimus Prime sounds like Optimus Prime. Why? Because they actually got what's his pickle. And furthermore, why the hell didn't they bring in Gary Chalk?
Let's talk about. They went to all the trouble to get Peter Cullen back for Optimus Prime in the classic movies, and he's been doing it ever since. But why not respect the Beast Wars fans in the same way? And that to us, Gary Chalk is just as iconic as Optimus Primal.
Yeah, we grew up with that guy.
I know that Ron Perlman's great. I do really like him. I thought he did a good job. I wouldn't say he messed up Primal. I think he did fine. And I know he's also played Optimus Primal in another version of, I can't remember which one it was, Transformers, I don't know, one of those Transformers shows. I'll put the answer right here. But, at the same time, I think Gary Chalk would have done amazing. And actually probably would have been cheaper than hiring Ron Perlman as well.
Could you imagine, Gary Chalk, but his voice, amplified with, this techno-organic sound that they seem to, really love?
That would have been pretty cool. That would have probably given me some chills. I mean, Shidor only got a few lines here and there, but bringing in Ian James Corlett, I think, would have been awesome. Because, again, these guys are still around. I think they're very valuable while they're here. Let's use them, just like Peter Cullen. The talent is still around. I wouldn't say they did a bad job. I think the voiceovers were fine.
Yeah.
But I just don't see why they couldn't have.
I didn't have a sense of identity with the characters.
For the Maximals?
Yeah. The Maximals were the draw for me. I wanted to see the beasties. Mm-hmm. Right? To just have a group of... They could have picked up anybody. And they did. I really feel like, in my mind, that they kind of did a disservice to the beasties for that reason, but also because they only maximized once, but they only said it once, and that was the payoff. Ha! Here you go, maximize, and we were like, oh, and then you never even see them fight.
I feel like it's probably how a lot of because I haven't seen Age of Extinction, but this is one of the criticisms I've heard about it, is that they really made a big selling point about bringing in the Dinobots for Age of Extinction. And then it was just kind of a little bit at the end. And it's kind of the same deal, I feel. I can't say for sure what the ratio is, because again, I haven't seen Age of Extinction. But it just feels like if you were there for the Dinobots, or in this case, we were there for the Maximals, we didn't really get our fill. Oh yeah, and also Rhinox, he says he got a line. I'm not even convinced that Rhinox got a line.
I'm pretty sure he did. There was a moment where
he's so maybe he said something.
They're all fighting and they're like, go over there or something, and he's like, okay.
Okay, so it's kind of lost in the battle.
And then Rhinox and somebody else go and they run off. So
yeah,
it's just I was trying to see the designs and everything. He's holding his hammer and just yeah. And there they go.
The thing is, the glimpses I got, it looks like it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that Optimus's transformation, well, Primal's transformation is like even his body, like his torso twisted around. I was like, yes, they got that right.
Yeah.
He didn't have a jetpack though, or the interceptors.
It's true. He didn't. That's right. There were no prime jets.
Yeah. How can you prime jets on if you don't got prime jets?
So this is one thing I have an issue with as well, and this isn't just this movie's fault. This is something I'm noticing. You're trying to add gravity and urgency and danger to a situation by killing characters off, having them make sacrifices. I'm not gonna say who. All I gotta say is like if you're gonna commit to those moments where these characters die and people get hurt by it, maybe just have them die. You know, if you're not willing to kill them off, then don't kill them off. If you don't want to make that sacrifice, don't write it in your script, and then have magic bring them back to life.
This is you eating your cake and then regurgitating it.
It's just that's all I gotta say, really.
It felt kind of cheap. Could you imagine the end of Avengers Endgame? If everyone's having that huge funeral, and then like Doctor Strange is like, hang on a second.
Yeah. And then
he just comes up, he's like, oh, hey guys, how's it going? I was dead for a little bit, but now I'm better. He's off he goes.
It was that way in like Rise of Skywalker too, which I hated. They're like, no, we killed Chewbacca. Next scene, Chewbacca's still alive. Oh no, I guess he didn't. Or C-3PO is like, you're going to wipe my memory. Well, at least I'm here with my friends. This is a grand sacrifice. And then R2-D2's like, bloop, and he's like, oh, I'm back. Oh, goody. You're not even committing to your own creative choices. Like, if you're worried about hurting fans, I get it, because Transformers has a history of hurting their fans. But just, you know what? We grow from that pain. I know you're worried about traumatizing kids. Kids, they need to be traumatized.
Kids bounce.
Just kill their favorite characters. I want to see bodies on the floor. I want to see tears as they're leaving.
In order for the greater good to be saved or whatever, sometimes you got to sacrifice, even if it means pushing your best friend in front of a train. I wouldn't do that to you.
Thanks, man. That means a lot to
Unless it was like absolutely necessary. The greater good and all.
For the greater good, yeah.
The greater good.
One thing we talked about a little bit after the film was like
the pizza. It wasn't all that good.
It's true. It was very, it's fresh sliced, so it can only be so good.
It was mediocre.
We feel like there's a lot of choices in this movie that if I was a kid, I'd be like, whoa, this is awesome. But as an adult, I don't know, maybe it's that we're jaded and we're just like really kind of set in our ways, or we just have more mature tastes. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
We're not the target audience that they're looking for.
Even though they're also doing a lot of things 90s reference-wise to pander to us, that's just not how we wanted to be pandered to. We wanted to be pandered to by them making a good Beast Wars movie. So we decided to give Transformers Rise of the Beasts 2.5 out of 5 Transwarp MacGuffins. I'd say it's one of the more watchable Transformers movies. So if you like the Transformers movies, you'll probably like this just fine. But I don't know. I just felt like we just we're not
the audience anymore, which is fine.
Yeah, we'll always have our Beast Wars in here. This definitely is not what I was hoping for from a Beast Wars movie, but I hope that it is successful in showing Hollywood that there is still interest in these characters, and maybe they could do more with them. And maybe next time it'll work really great. So don't forget to like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of Rise of the Beast down in the comments below. And as always,
tell your mother. Or if you didn't see the issues, then you're the White Devil.
Oh, the one I prefer White Devil Slave Master.
Oh, okay.
My full title, please and thank you.